This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, hello there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, February the 4th, is a legendary golfer. Now, normally on February the 4th, I find someone who's alive. But because I did Lawrence Taylor, Oscar De La Hoya, and Denny Savard, and they're all alive now, I couldn't find one that was alive that, other than those three. You know, I've done this is my 4th year doing it. So basically, I went with one of the best golfers of all time. He was a professional between 1935 and 1946. He was an icon. His name was Byron Nelson, who was born February 4th, 1912. The funny thing is that Byron Nelson, Ben Hogan, and Sam Snead were born within 7 months of each other in 1912. So he has a legendary career. He had a legendary career and all that. So anyway, Byron was a committed member of the Church of Christ, doing a lot of things. He was in Roanoke, Texas, for the Hilltop Church of Christ. Anyway, when he was 11 years old, his family moved to Fort Worth, and he survived typhoid fever after losing nearly half his body weight to the disease, which meant that he couldn't have kids. Soon after being baptized, he started caddying at a country club. So anyway, caddies were not permitted to play at the club, but then they changed the policy and had a caddy tournament, in which Byron Nelson, at 14 years old, beat fellow caddy Ben Hogan by a single stroke. Nelson and Hogan were rivals but close friends in their teen years. And all that. So anyway, Nelson was working as a golf pro at Texarkana, Arkansas, when he met his future wife, after which he had married her for 50 years before she died of stroke. So anyway, money was tight to be a club professional in Texas for Nelson. However, he was encouraged to go Major League Pro. He took a club pro's job in New Jersey in 1935, worked hard on his game. That his golf swing would adapt because the change went from hickory to steel shafts. All that. Nelson developed a full swing with increased leg drive, leading the downswing. He's credited as being the father of the modern golf swing. Then he went through the PGA Tour and all that. Regardless, he would be professionals in a lot of things. And all that. Nelson would win the 1937 majors, beating Ralph Goldall by 2 strokes. He put up a 66, which was the lowest first-round score for 4 decades before Ray Floyd broke that mark. Nelson would win a second major Masters in 1942, a U.S. Open in 1939, and the PGA Championship in both 1940 and 45. He would have been in military service during World War II, but because he had a blood disorder which caused his blood to clot 4 times slower than normal, he wasn't there. Some people said he was a hemophiliac or something to do with blood, but he was fine and all that. Nelson in his career won 52 pro events and looked pretty impressive. He played for 2 Ryder Cup teams and all that. After 1946, he curtailed his schedule, making an appearance at the Masters as a competitor, playing occasionally on the tour, and was basically a ceremonial starter. But 1945 was his year and all that. Of the 30 tournaments he played in the PGA, he had 18 victories, count that, 18. Most golfers will be lucky to win more than 5 events in a year, but he put up 18, including 11 in a row, which included a pairs competition with Jug McSpading. But he won 10 individual events that he started in, and that his 11th straight victory was at the Canadian Open in 1945. But then he took 4th in Memphis, and that streak ended. And he won the 1945 PGA Championship. That was actually the only major that happened because of the war. It was just huge and all that. A lot of people said that he won 18 tournaments because of the war and weakening the field. However, it must be said that Sam Snead and Ben Hogan also played during that era. So thus, it was hard. Snead did win 6 times in 1945, and Hogan won 5 times in 1945. So combined, those guys missed all but one tournament. Only one tournament was won by those 3. Nelson actually finished second 7 times, in addition to winning 18 titles. So he had huge. He had the lowest scoring average in a single season, 68.3, which actually was broken by Tiger Woods in 2000. He did quite well. So anyway, it's one of the greatest years in PGA Tour history in 1945. Well, especially if you win 11 events in a row. Most people would be happy to win 5 events in a career. So anyway, he set the record for most consecutive cuts with 113. Tiger Woods is the only guy to beat that with 142. It's just amazing. Byron Nelson became the first golfer to get to 50 PGA Tour wins, but would be matched by Ben Hogan, Sam Snead, Arnie Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Billy Casper, and Tiger Woods. Anyway, he made some great moments. In 1937, when he won the Masters, he put up a birdie on 12 and an eagle on 13, catching Ruff Goodall, who fumbled those holes. Nelson would actually hit the flagstick 6 times at the 1939 U.S. Open, in both the 72 regulation holes and the 36 playoff holes. And in 1945, in the 36-hole semifinal match against Jim Canessa, Nelson was down 4 holes with 5 to play, so it was basically curtains. But he put up 4 birdies and eagle to win the match. Despite the fact that Tunisia put up a birdie and 4 pars. Nelson had a birdie on every hole. Nelson would win the PGA Championship the next day. Nelson shockingly retired early at 34 to become a rancher in Roanoke, Texas. He would become a color commentator for golf during the 60s and 70s. And Nelson lent his name in support to a golf tournament in Dallas, making it the first PGA Tour event to have a golfer's name next to it. So he did continue to play at the Masters and took the top 10 6 times and all that. So anyway, he published a memoir in 1993. He would actually play golf with many celebrities and personalities like Boone Ulrich, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Bobby Knight, Ed Sullivan, Johnny Weissmuller, Lawrence Welk, and Babe Zaharias. Well, Dickerson Zaharias, I should say. He was a coach and mentor to people like Ken Venturi and Tom Watson. Nelson would pass away September 26, 2006. And he was survived by Peggy, his wife of 20 years. So Byron Nelson was 94 when he died. He was a legend. And all of that. It's just, he was known as Lord Byron for his golfing stuff and all of that. Anyway, he was a good commentator and all of that. In 2000, at the turn of the millennium, he was named the 5th greatest golfer of all time, behind Nicklaus, Hogan, Snead, and Bobby Jones. A 2009 Sports Illustrated panel put him 7th. Anyway, there would be a few posthumous honors, including a few high schools named after him. So he put up 52 PGA Tour wins, which was pretty impressive, to say the least. So, including those 11 wins. Now, the 11 wins in a row started with the Miami Fort Bowl with Chuck McSpaden. Then he won the Charlotte Open, the Greater Greensboro Open, the Durham Open, the Atlanta Open, the Montreal Open, the Philadelphia Open, the Chicago Open, the PGA Championship, the All-American Open, and the Canadian Open. So that's just how it went. I went 11 in a row. He would win 5 majors, which isn't that bad and all that. So, yeah. He did a lot of great work and all that. And you're in the same era as Hogan and Snead. You must be doing something right. And he was a legendary golfer for all time. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond Ado.